This is Congressman Tom Cole. This is another one of our weekly chats. It's been a busy week in Congress today, or this week. It's sort of chaotic week in some ways. Let me set the frame. Remember, last week we were able to fund almost all the government, 97% of it through September 30th. That was a very good bill, a compromise bill with the Democrats in the House and with the United States Senate, Democrats and Republicans alike there. And we got defense done. We got the so-called labor, health, and human services. Basically, we funded about 75% of the federal government last week, and that's a good thing. President Trump was very supportive, issued a strong statements in support of all the bills that had been negotiated and worked upon. So we had great support from the president. And honestly, we had bipartisan support from the Democrats. We lost 21 Republicans, and we live in an era when you lose more than two, you can't pass the bill. But we got 21 Democrats and worked in good faith across the aisle. So I appreciate that from all my colleagues that made sure government was funded. That's awfully important in the 4th District of Oklahoma. It means that our workers at Tinker Air Force Base and Fort Sill and the National Weather Center, the Kerr Water Labs, those sorts of places are all going to be funded, all going to be paid. All their important missions are going to go on uninterrupted. All the contractors that do business with them, and we have a lot of them in our district, Boeing, Pratt Whitney, Northrop Grumman, Raytheon, all have very substantial presences. Lots of small businesses depend on these larger entities where they provide important services and work to maintain airplanes or to train soldiers or to overhaul artillery pieces. All those kinds of things happen in our district. So it's pretty essential that the funding for the government entities that you're doing business with happen, not just for the workers that work directly for the federal government, but for all the other workers that provide important services and products that our military needs. So I was very pleased with that. Obviously, as the chairman of appropriations, we're at the center of it. There was one problem area, and that's the Department of Homeland Security. We had reached an agreement with the Democrats, and we passed that bill through the House. In the Senate, while they had agreed to the bill, Senate Democrats decided, in wake of the challenges in Minnesota, they would not fund that bill all the way to September. So they sent us back the bills we'd agreed upon, which we got passed, and then what's called a 2-week continuing resolution to fund the Department of Homeland Security. Department of Homeland Security is a really complex department because it has 23 different agencies in it that do a variety of very different functions that are important to the security of the United States. The two most controversial right now are the Border Patrol and particularly Immigration and Customs Enforcement, where the Democrats are very upset with the manner in which that agency's been run. I would argue it's been very successful. We've removed tens of thousands of known criminals from the United States. Our borders are more secure than ever. We're now in the 4th month without a known illegal entry into the United States. I'm not going to tell you somebody can come in illegally because it's a pretty big country, but we don't know of anybody. And contrast that to the Biden administration, where literally thousands of people every day were coming illegally into the country. It's an extraordinary triumph for the Trump administration to have restored border security so quickly. And when they do that, by the way, they cut down on human trafficking and they cut down on drugs entering into the United States illegally. And they save thousands of American lives, particularly with respect to drug overdoses and things of that nature. So couldn't be prouder of the administration and what they've done. Now on Homeland Security, the reality is the House has finished its work. We passed a bill, we sent it to the Senate. It was a bill the Senate had agreed to pass. Then Senate Democrats changed their mind. Remember, you have to get to 60 votes in the Senate. We only have 53 Republicans. So we have some Democratic support. Senator Fetterman, Democrat from Pennsylvania, does not believe in shutting down the government, a belief I share, and he's voting with us. But I'm not sure any other Democrats will right now. So this is Thursday. We're literally waiting to see what the Senate is going to do. Are they going to allow the Department of Homeland Security to shut down? And it looks like that's what's going to happen today. There's going to be some floor action. The bill that we did in the House on a bipartisan basis will be put onto the floor. It'll get a lot of Republican support, but only a little Democratic support, and probably will not get to 60. The Senate then has three options. Again, they could pass the bill that they agreed to. They're not likely to do that. They could amend that bill, add whatever else they want in it, and send it back. But they would have to get significant Republican support to do that, and I'm not sure that the two parties are anywhere close to agreeing. Or they could send us another continuing resolution, which is what they ought to do. That is, just buy a few more weeks, let the negotiation in the Senate go. But Democrats in the Senate don't want to do that either. Now, what's the practical effect of that? The areas they don't want to fund, Border Patrol and Immigration and Customs Enforcement, frankly, are already funded in another bill, the so-called Big Beautiful Bill. So they're not going to shut those down, even if they want to. What they are going to do is, TSA, which provides the security as you're getting on the airplane. Our air traffic controllers have a raise coming. It's actually in the Department of Homeland Security bill. The Coast Guard, such splendid service protecting our coast and interdicting drug trafficking. The Secret Service that provides protection not only for the president, but for many federal officials and what have you. All those areas will not get funded. Now, those people will continue to work because they mostly provide essential services for security. So this will be the third time in 4 months that Senate Democrats have shut down either the entire government or parts of the government. They did it for 43 days last year. They didn't get a single change done. They just inconvenienced everybody and kept people from getting paid that had to still go to work. They did it for a very short period last week when they finally funded most of the government as they'd agreed to, but didn't fund it all. And now it looks like they may well do it again. It's incredibly irresponsible. Again, we can keep negotiating. And by the way, the president has negotiated in good faith here. He's changed the people running the ICE operation in Minnesota at the top level. They reduced the number of agents, and I think they've decided they're about to end the surge of ICE personnel in Minnesota. And he said, look, we're open to additional talks and we'll keep negotiating. The only reason for shutting these agencies down is just political, because we have people that are beholding to folks that want to shut down the government, that want open borders. So I'm at a loss to tell you why or what they hope to achieve, because I think it's all politics. I don't think there's any policy objective here that is remotely possible to achieve. And they're not in a majority in either chamber, and they don't have the presidency. So this is just throwing a political temper tantrum. And in the end, it will endanger the lives of Americans. And it's incredibly unfair to men and women that are working to protect us all, who actually they have no quarrel with. Nobody's mad at the TSA. Nobody's mad at air traffic controllers. Nobody's mad at the Coast Guard. I hope people aren't mad at the Secret Service. But the reality is, whatever problems we have, you negotiate and work those out. You don't do it by shutting down entire agencies of government that provide safety and security for the American people. So I think we're seeing Senate Democrats be incredibly irresponsible and blatantly political and deliberately obstructionist in terms of how they operate the government. So pretty disappointed we're at this deal. We're ready to stay and work if the Democrats are, but they not only are going to do all this, then they're going off for a week. And they won't be here to get anything done. Now, I hope but maybe something will happen this afternoon, and I get to recut this tape and tell you we've arrived at a miraculous last-minute deal. We've pulled a rabbit out of a hat, and I hope that's what happens. The more likely thing is almost all government funded. The things that we most depend on and need in Oklahoma are funded. But again, all Americans need to know that they have secure borders, that when they get on an airplane, there's not somebody else on there carrying something that would destroy the airplane. They need to know that the Secret Service is protecting key people. They need to know that the Coast Guard's at sea and interdicting drug trafficking and protecting our coast, and that the men and women that we're asking to do these tough things are getting paid, that their families are going to be okay, that they're going to be okay. Again, Democrats have done this to them twice now, and by that I mean Senate Democrats, and they're about to do it again. And I just think it's a sad commentary on where the Democratic Party is. Again, you don't have to give in on a single demand. Pass a short term, a 4-week continuing resolution. Let people get paid. Congress can take its break. You can come back and work out these differences, because again, the administration has been negotiating in good faith and sending plenty of signals. When you change the people on the ground that are in command in Minnesota, when you lower the number of ICE officials that are there, when you agree to have body cameras, which we have in our bill, or additional training and de-escalation, I think actually the president's been exceptionally reasonable here and shown plenty of signs that he's willing to work in good faith. It's actually Senate Democrats, particularly the Minority Leader Schumer, that is just consistently breaking his word. And again, this has happened to us twice. In the first shutdown, we sent Senate Democrats what they asked for. They asked for a short-term continuing resolution to continue negotiating bills. We agreed. They asked for what's called a clean continuing resolution, or CR, which is what we sent them. Even they acknowledged that. Then they threw in extra demands that had nothing to do with appropriations. Subsidies for Obamacare, premium health care insurance, undoing Republican reforms in Medicaid that hadn't even taken effect yet and don't take effect until 2027. And now, same thing here. We're being asked to do things that are either unreasonable or have already been taken care of. And then Democrats throw a temper tantrum, shut down the government, and blame it on Republicans. That's all we're seeing. So I hope we can avoid that. Sadly, I don't think we will, at least for the short term. But again, I'd love to be redoing this video a little bit later this afternoon. But the Senate's got several votes up this afternoon, and you ought to see who votes to shut down the government and who doesn't, or a portion of the government. Remember, most of the government is fully funded. That was because of the hard work of Republicans and Democrats in both chambers to fund almost all the government. But Senate Democrats are throwing a fit about this last essential component. And who's going to get punished? The American people are going to be a little bit less secure than they would have been. And the men and women that we ask to guard our borders, to protect us internally, to make sure we can fly safely, to protect our coast, to protect our key political leaders, those are the people that are going to pay the price for this Democratic Senate intransigent and this inability to keep their word, their agreement after they make it. So, sad commentary on the leadership of the Democratic Party in the United States Senate, and a sad commentary on the Senate itself that we're in this situation. With that, I look forward to visiting with you soon. Next week, the House is out, although we're prepared to come back. We're on what's called 48-hour notice. If there's an agreement, we will come back and fully fund Department of Homeland Security, the last piece of the government. If not, we'll continue to work through it. But remember, this is a Senate issue. The House has passed its bills. They've passed bills that the Democrats, both in the House and Democrats in the Senate, said they agreed to. And then Senate Democrats broke their word. And we'll see where we go from there. But sooner or later, we'll get it refunded, and we'll get the government fully funded. We'll get these men and women taken care of. But they should not have to go through with what they're going through right now. with that, I look forward to visiting with you again in the near future. Good luck. God bless your families and keep you safe. And I look forward to our next chat.